A young boy is hit by a pickup truck and killed in Bakersfield last night. A fire breaks out near a pair of correctional facilities in McFarland. And a few more cents per gallon, your price at the pump going up. This is 17 News at noon.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maddie Jansen. We have new information on a crash that killed a pedestrian in East Bakersfield last night. The CHP announced this morning that victim was a 13-year-old boy. It happened last night about 7 near Niles Street and Park Drive. CHP says the teen was standing on the north shoulder of Niles near a KGET bus stop with 3 other teens. CHP says the kid started running across Niles outside of a crosswalk trying to beat traffic, but the 13-year-old was hit by a pickup. The teen was taken to the hospital where he died. CHP says they do not believe drugs or alcohol were involved, and witnesses reported the driver was going the speed limit. This is the 15th pedestrian who has been hit and killed so far this year in Kern County. A fire broke out late last night between 2 correctional facilities in McFarland. A 17 News viewer sent us video that appears to show the flames coming from near the jails. The California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation said around 10 last night an officer saw a fire burning in a field between the Central Valley Modified Community Correctional Facility and Golden State Modified Correctional Facility and called 911. Kern County fire crews arrived and got the situation under control about 11:30 p.m. The fire burned about 10 acres. Neither facility had to evacuate. The search is on for the person responsible for a crash and fire near Meadows Field Airport. It all happened just after midnight. County firefighters say a car crashed through the fence and caught fire. The flames then spread to nearby grass. The driver was not there when firefighters arrived, though. The CHP is now investigating. World news. New fallout from President Trump's historic meeting with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un at the DMZ on Sunday. Mr. Trump becomes the first sitting U.S. president to cross into North Korea. Already a new video from North Korea celebrating the visit. NBC's Hallie Jackson reports.
New fallout today after that unprecedented and unexpected moment.
I've never expected to meet you at this place.
President Trump meeting Kim Jong-un at the demilitarized zone between North and South Korea.
If Your Excellency take a step forward, you will be the first U.S. president to cross it.
With that single step, making history, becoming the first U.S. president to ever enter North Korea.
It's just an honor to be with you, and it was an honor that you asked me to step over that line, and I was proud to step over the line.
North Korean state media this morning releasing their own version of that historic meeting, including music and slow-motion video of President Trump crossing the border. The images also splashed across North Korea's newspapers. The two leaders talking for nearly an hour in the surprise Sunday summit, a kind of reset, agreeing to restart nuclear talks that fell apart in Vietnam earlier this year.
Over the next 2 or 3 weeks, the teams are going to start working to see whether or not they can do something.
While North Korea has released detained Americans and returned the remains of some U.S. troops killed in the Korean War, Kim has done nothing to show he's serious about denuclearizing, even testing short-range missiles this spring. Now, critics worry President Trump's getting played by elevating Kim's stature on the world stage and getting little in return.
I don't think that it's fitting for the United States to continue to erratically meet with a dictator.
Come on, let's go.
The DMZ meeting triggered by a tweet. The president inviting Kim to meet him. U.S. officials unsure until the last minute if Kim would accept. Once there, a chaotic crush. The new press secretary, Stephanie Grisham, even seen body blocking a North Korean official, telling American media to go into the room. Now, what's next? With the world watching, a fourth face-to-face may happen at home.
Did you extend the invitation for him to come to the United States, sir?
I did. Actually, at some point, it'll all happen.
Can't believe it's already July. Thanks so much, Kevin. And as we begin this month, several new laws are now in effect here in California. The first new law requires background checks for ammunition purchases. Voters approved Prop 63 back in 2016. It will prohibit people from possessing large capacity magazines, something used in many recent mass shootings. People who already own those magazines either have to sell them back to the dealer, destroy them, or take them out of state. Governor Gavin Newsom says the new law will save lives, but opponents say it infringes on their Second Amendment rights. Prices at the pump are set to rise by nearly 6 cents per gallon today. That will give California the highest tax in gas prices in the country. The new gas tax is expected to bring in more than $50 billion over the next decade. That money is set to be used for road repairs, infrastructure, and public transit. Right now, AAA says the national average for a gallon of regular unleaded gas is $2.72. California's average is $3.76, and Kern County's $3.83. According to GasBuddy.com, the lowest price on gas in Bakersfield is $3.30. You can find that at On The Go Food Store on River Boulevard in Northeast Bakersfield or Varsity in East Bakersfield. To look up gas prices in your neighborhood, head to KGET.com, then click on the traffic section. And we've also posted a list of all of the new laws in effect as of today. That's on our website, KGET.com. The Fox Theater in downtown Bakersfield is paying tribute to David Marcus. The marquee reads, "David Marcus, a beacon of light and positivity." The local sports fan and enthusiastic supporter of numerous charities died on Friday at the age of 60. He had fought cancer 7 times. Last week, right before his death, Marcus was nominated for a star in front of the Fox, and the community rushed in to raise the money. Now, tomorrow, Jersey Mike Stubbs is holding a fundraiser to raise money for the Marcus family. From 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., 20% of proceeds from meals sold at the restaurant on Coffee Road will go to the family. A celebration of life is planned for 10 a.m. Saturday at Valley Bible Fellowship Church on East Brundage Lane. Marcus will be laid to rest at Green Lawn Cemetery Northeast immediately following the service. In a Facebook post, his family is asking people not to wear black to the service, but instead they're asking people to wear a high school t-shirt, a football jersey, or something colorful in memory of David. Fireworks stands across the county are officially open for business. Those stands will stay open through midnight on the 4th. Only fireworks that have the Safe and Sane seals are legal to use here in Kern County. We posted a list of stand locations on our website, KGET.com. And the Red Cross is sharing some tips for a safe 4th of July holiday. Make sure to always leave the fireworks to the adults. Never throw fireworks away. Or throw fireworks, rather. Always keep water around in case of an emergency, and never try to relight a dud or an altered firework. The best tip, perhaps, according to some, just leave it to the pros. There are several shows that will be going on around the county, from the Park at Riverwalk in Bakersfield to events in Taft, Shafter, and Tehachapi. Plenty of opportunities to just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show that the pros put on. We posted a list of events around Kern County on our website, KGET.com. Just click on the hot link icon. And for those traveling to and from all of those exciting celebrations this weekend, CHP is encouraging safe driving with a maximum enforcement period. It starts at 6 o'clock on Wednesday night and runs through Saturday. Officers will be looking for people driving under the influence. Holding checkpoints is a proven way to reduce DUI-related crashes, and the CHP says announcing them ahead of time deters drunk driving. The week of the 4th is always a busy time for local animal shelters, as the loud celebrations often frighten pets into running away. Each year, animal shelters nationwide see a spike in animals brought in on or after the 4th of July. Kern County Animal Services wants to help reunite pets and families with its 4 Days of Freedom program. So through Wednesday, county residents can microchip their cat or dog for free at the shelter. We've posted details on our website, KGET.com. We're back on your 17 Health Watch this afternoon. Many Americans will be spending time by the pool during this holiday week. But before you jump in, federal health officials are warning cases involving a chlorine-tolerant parasite are on the rise. According to the CDC, a number of outbreaks involving Cryptosporidium, or crypto, has increased 13% each year since 2009. That parasite can cause diarrhea that could last for several weeks and is spread through the feces of infected people or animals. People can get sick after they swallow the parasite in contaminated water or food. Among the 444 cases studied, more than a third were linked to pools and water playgrounds. Experts say you should not swim if you have diarrhea, and don't swallow pool water. More and more men with early-stage prostate cancer are turning to a new treatment approach called active surveillance. Hallie Pilot talks to a doctor and patient to learn how the treatment can help delay surgery and radiation.
This could truly be game-changing. Dr. Neil Shore has investigated more than 300 clinical trials and says active surveillance and immunotherapy could be the perfect treatment for some men
who've been diagnosed with localized prostate cancer who don't have a very aggressive form of it.
He says historically, in cases of prostate cancer, urologists and oncologists have encouraged prostate removal or radiation, but both options can have negative impacts on sexual and urinary function. That's where active surveillance comes in.
We monitor their PSA blood test, we monitor their prostate exam, we monitor their symptoms.
And use immunotherapy, typically given to advanced stage cancer patients, but in this approach, it's given early on, intravenously on an outpatient basis.
It's taking personalized cells from the patient, stimulating them in such a way in a laboratory, and then giving them back to better recognize cancer cells and to fight them.
Then doctors do follow-up biopsies and blood tests to make sure the disease doesn't change or grow.
In an ideal world, the disease is cleared or stays low grade and low risk.
Raymond is an active surveillance patient in a clinical trial who says joining the study was an easy decision.
It enabled me to actively participate in cancer research. I was able to turn a negative situation in my life into something positive.
He gets a blood test every 6 months and a biopsy every year to make sure his cancer is under control for himself and for men everywhere.
I've got 2 sons, and God forbid 30, 40 years from now they are ever diagnosed with prostate cancer. I want their doctor to be able to tell them studies like this that we did today mean that they've got nothing to worry about in the future.
Dr. Shore is the principal investigator for the study and says he needs as many men as possible to enroll as soon as possible. He says 40% of men who are diagnosed are candidates. So if you think that could be you, you can visit ProventStudy.com. And we're back now in your 17 Business Watch checking stocks. U.S. stocks are up today after the U.S. and China both agreed to hold off on slapping additional tariffs on their products in an effort to resume trade talks. The Dow up 88 points so far in trading, the Nasdaq up 71, and the S&P 500 up 17. Oil prices also rising today. Let's take a look. West Texas Intermediate, $59.11 a barrel, and Midway Sunset started the day at $63.72 a barrel. A new rule impacting electric cars in Europe starting today will eventually make its way to the U.S. As of today, electric and hybrid cars in the European Union have to come equipped with a warning noise for pedestrians when the car is traveling less than 12 miles an hour or backing up. That's because the vehicles are largely silent when operating, but this artificial sound will be similar to that of a regular gas-powered car. A similar requirement goes into effect here in the U.S. in September of 2020, requiring the sound at less than 19 miles an hour. As we celebrate Independence Day this week, the FAA has some rules to keep in mind. The Federal Aviation Administration reminds passengers flying this week that fireworks are not allowed on domestic or international flights. So while packing, remember that fireworks of any kind are not allowed in carry-on baggage or checked luggage. And if you have plans to capture the 4th of July fireworks with a drone camera, you may want to think again. The FAA has strict guidelines on how, when, and where drones can be flown for recreational purposes. Just remember it's a no-no to fly a drone in or near fireworks. And you may want to get the airport extra early if you're flying ahead of the busy 4th of July holiday. The Transportation Security Administration says a record number of passengers will be flying this week. In fact, 12 million people are expected to pass through security checkpoints between July 3rd and 7th, with the peak travel day being Sunday the 7th. The TSA anticipates screening approximately 2.7 million passengers and crew members during peak travel days. That's an additional 500,000 people than on a typical day. So far this year, 99% of passengers waited less than 30 minutes in standard screening lines, while 92% of TSA pre-check passengers waited less than 5 minutes. That sounds pretty nice. And now to a shakeup among the 2020 presidential candidates after last week's Democratic debates. Kamala Harris is moving up in one post-debate poll, while Joe Biden, still a front-runner, is facing more criticism for his comments on race. The issue front and center in the campaign, including a retweet since deleted from Donald Trump Jr. NBC's Andrea Mitchell reports.
Kamala Harris is building on her breakout debate performance, campaigning Sunday in San Francisco's Pride Parade. The California senator is on the rise after taking on former Vice President Joe Biden over his past opposition to court-ordered busing to desegregate schools, following his controversial comments about working with two segregationist Democratic senators back in the 1970s.
That conversation was about, frankly, me sharing a personal experience and hopefully explaining then why I felt the way I did about the comments about segregationists and about the issue of busing in America and the history of that.
A new poll conducted after Thursday's debate shows Biden still leading the 2020 field with 33%. But that's a 5-point drop from the previous week. The same poll shows Harris surging, now tied with Elizabeth Warren for third place at 12%, up 6 points since the debate. Biden now facing even more criticism from his rivals after these comments about black teenagers Friday.
We got to recognize that kid wearing a hoodie may very well be the next poet laureate and not a gangbanger.
As a guy growing up as a young black guy in America who was followed and surveilled, this is just another example of just conversations or lessons that Joe Biden shouldn't have to learn.
Meanwhile, Harris's 2020 rivals are leaping to her defense after Donald Trump Jr. retweeted, then deleted, a tweet questioning Harris's race. Harris, born in California, is the daughter of immigrants, a black Jamaican father and a mother from India. Mayor Pete Buttigieg tweeting, "It's long past time to end these racist birther-style attacks."
We have a president who is a racist, and apparently based on a statement yesterday, his son is following in his footsteps.
Andrea Mitchell reporting. A spokesman for Trump Jr. says he was simply asking about Harris's ethnicity and deleted the tweet when his intent was misconstrued. But a Trump campaign advisor and former spokeswoman Katrina Pearson was also tweeting racial jibes at Harris. NBC News reached out to Pearson, and neither she nor the campaign had any comment.